Hey Sarita,
Jule,
how are you?
very, very well. Just I'm noticing behind me that the sun's kind of coming out of the clouds. It's been a bit rainy and so if I look like I'm getting some kind of light halo,
Yeah,
that's the
this
sun's
angelic
coming through the
halo.
curtains.
Sarita.
How are you going?
I'm good, thank you. So I'm very good. So today we thought we'd talk about kind of visibility, invisibility, and things like that. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Visibility,
Mm,
being seen in the world. It's like, I don't know about you, but it's been a journey for me about
yes.
being seen by people, like especially in our new world where we're all kind of videographers and um, the,
Influences.
the the influencers and the rise of the selfie. When I was younger, we didn't have any of those things. That
Mm.
wasn't a thing at all. So
Absolutely. Same for me. I grew up before the internet and before mobile phones, and I'm actually really grateful for that because I could not imagine having those things. Well, whilst I was at high school, it would have been, I just can't imagine it. Our kids are just used to it these days. Um, but yeah, visibility and how we are also connected online these days in a
yeah,
global way. It's kind of,
yeah,
in past days would be in villages. I'm going back quite some years, villages and then towns and then cities.
yeah,
But now it's global, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Kind
It's
of
like a
connections and
global village.
it's a global village. And that's with that comes extremes either way, extreme visibility, but also extreme invisibility. It's a really strange thing actually, but yeah,
Mm.
I've definitely always had kind of like invisibility because visibility is different to invisibility. The fear of being visible, the fear of being seen, judged, criticized is different from the fear of being invisible, like erased, invalidated, minimized, kind of ignored. It's a slightly different wound, isn't it? I feel like I got both.
Me too.
Do
Me
you?
too. I would be very surprised, actually. I'm going to make a big statement and say I think probably the majority of people would be able to resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I've thought about that and I've never researched it, so I don't know what the figures and numbers are. I wonder if it's gender specific too, like a lot more females have this wound than males. I don't know. That's just a kind of thought of just how we're conditioned in growing up, of being a fit. That was my experience growing up because I grew up in a place that was very sexist toward, and very much females don't speak. You should be invisible, just shush and do your thing, don't speak up. So I don't know, maybe
Mhm.
my experience is a bit different to yours.
Very different. I had quite a modern mother who and father actually who encouraged me, and this is interesting because all roads lead to the same thing. I'm just going ahead of myself here, but
Mm,
encouraged both my sister and I to be ourselves and be out in the world and to not think that we couldn't do anything we wanted to do.
mm,
But by the same token, that was also pretty scary too,
mm.
to have that. Not, it wasn't so much an expectation, but I think I received it as such.
Ah, okay. So you
So
felt
that
more
was
like a pressure.
like a pressure to be out there. And I spent a lot of my younger years kind of putting something on a bit, particularly, my late teens, early 20s, where I would actually overplay myself a little bit. Does that make
Ah,
sense?
it does.
Because
That's very interesting.
that was kind of safe, and I didn't have to. I could
Yeah.
hide behind that a little bit.
So what felt safe about that? Because that is like the opposite experience to me. Like what felt safe
Yeah.
about overplaying yourself?
Well, I was ticking both boxes in a way. So I was ticking the box of yes, I'm out and I'm out and proud and I can do whatever I want and I'm going to pursue this. But inside, behind that was this really unconfident, scared person.
Okay, I see.
So
Yeah.
and I was ashamed of that unconfident, scared person,
Mm,
and so
yeah.
my way of doing it was to cover it up with a lot of bravado. I
Yeah.
think.
And so as you've gone through life then, how do you view yourself now? Like, how do you show up in the world now?
Well, both ways, actually. It's good that you asked me that because I will kind of be loud and proud sometimes, and other times I'll be shy and quiet. But I feel like both parts of me are integrated now. Like
Mm,
I can not play with both, but allow both
yeah.
to be there and to just come out whenever it suits.
Yes. Like
It's not so serious,
authentically.
you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean because I feel that within myself. So as I've gotten older, like I feel those two sides of me. I've got two different sides of me. I've got a very confident kind of way of being, but then I've also got like a very introverted, like don't want to share that with people thing as well. It's kind of, so it is a bit polarizing. So I've had to learn to integrate that. But how I do that is I just accept when I'm authentically doing it, because we kind of touched on like when you're doing it from a wounded place is different to when you're doing it from an authentic place.
Well said.
So
Perfectly said.
yeah,
Yeah.
so now it's not a wounded place, but I just acknowledge like when I can feel myself go inward and a bit closed off to the outside world, I kind of just acknowledge that and then assess like why am I doing it? And if it's just because I want to and there's no kind of trigger or anything like that, I just embrace it and just do it until that shifts into the other kind of like confident and wanting to be quite outward and social and yeah, it's like the other side. So I kind of like gauge like where it's coming from and if it's a natural response or not. And that's
Mm,
how I integrate it because it's not about being one or the other. We do
mm,
have all of these different, parts of ourselves that are different and they're natural and they are inherent. And yeah, whereas when I was younger, it was definitely different. I was very invisible and I think I'd suppress the confident part a lot. And I was kind of waiting for my turn. I feel like I've spent a lot of my life just waiting in waiting mode. Um, so that's been the interesting thing of how I've become more visible is I've embraced that side of me that naturally is more outward. And if you like, we put an astrological lens on that, that would be like my Aries. I've got an Aries sun and Mars, and I had really suppressed that side of me until I was in my 40s. And then that's when that all came out. So I never resonated with that side of me at all until then. So yeah.
mm.
So what about for you? Like, how have you kind of gone through the process of, or how
I
do you
think that
identify in yourself that it's not a wound anymore?
I think it's getting more information for me.
Mm,
Having more experiences, um, feeling safer in myself as I've gotten older. So what's made me feel safer? You know, um, getting to know myself,
mm,
all
yeah.
aspects.
Yes.
Also having opportunities to be seen by others.
Mm,
And through that experience, realizing um, that it was that I survived it actually.
mm,
It's really strong
yeah.
to have the experience of acceptance when I felt really seen by others and then they accepted me
Mm,
still, warts and all, like they say,
yeah.
even at my most vulnerable moments or my most vulnerable moments, that gave me confidence in myself and also seeing myself, lots of self-reflection, um, learning about why I am the way I am,
Mm.
coming to terms with my past selves, things like that. That's
Yeah.
been a journey. It's been so, I'm thinking about it now, just so very, very important to me
Yeah.
to feel integrated later. I mean, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been
Those,
scary too at times. I'd have to say,
yeah,
really
absolutely.
scary.
Those evolutions of self, isn't it? And I wonder, do we all go through that? Because I know both me and you have been through that, but like those evolutions of self where those past versions just simply don't exist anymore. Like
Yeah.
they, I don't know if you feel the same way, but for me, it's like I look back and I'm just like, I recognize the person, but I don't recognize, it doesn't feel like me. I have a very big kind of separation from who I am now to who I was. I don't know
Mm,
if do you feel the same way, or
I
has yours been a
do.
bit different?
I understand what you're saying there. It's like my way of putting it is I feel like I've had many different lives.
Yeah, yeah,
But part of the process for me coming to where I'm at now was very much employing what I do with a lot of people actually that I talk to, and that is this idea of really understanding my past selves and understanding my motivations for decisions or actions that I
mm,
took.
yes,
And through that understanding, coming to a level of acceptance of where I've been at different times of my life. And not only acceptance, but actually compassion for the person I was at the time.
mm,
Because I think we can walk this earth being very self-judgmental about what we might have done or not done,
yes,
who we who we were and how we operated, and have some kind of decision about that, whether it be a positive or a negative judgment, actually.
yeah.
If
We
that
have to.
makes
Yeah, it's like we have to let go of the perfectionism of like, oh, I wasn't a perfect person, or like I, we all go through these things. They're all learning experiences in some way, and they add up to who we are now. And
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you like look back, do you, yeah, I don't know, different experiences, like would you remove them if you could? Were there some that just didn't help you?
Well, this is part of the value judgment, isn't it? That we
Yeah.
have on things that we've done or haven't done. You know, I find this incredibly fun and interesting work to do with people because
Mm,
I've had that journey so much in my own life.
mm,
And so therefore it's very close to my heart, you know. And this whole idea, often I describe it as, we walk around being a little fragmented. I've got this visual about it
mm,
where
yeah.
there's bits of us sort of floating around, not really connected in our space. And so this work that of bringing these parts of ourselves, these past parts of ourselves back to ourselves to integrate is a beautiful process of, feeling that I am the sum total of everything that I've experienced and all the different lives I've lived,
Mm,
and how I can fully show up now most of the time. Doesn't happen all the time, but most of the time I can actually go have a deep appreciation for my journey, for everything
mm,
I've experienced, all the
yeah.
stuff that looked like a mistake, but was it really?
Yeah.
Or what situations I found myself, or decisions I made that I go, damn it, if only I just made a different decision.
Yeah.
All of them, I can sit in a place of wow, just wow.
Mm,
It's brought me here somehow. It's brought
yeah.
me here.
Yeah. 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 And some of those things take quite some years to get to that point of acceptance because some situations that we go through or some life experiences just feel so wrong that it can take, 5, 10 years to integrate that and go, actually, I can understand why that happened now. Like
Mm.
that's what I feel. Sometimes some things are just so wrong. They just feel so wrong. And you're like, why did that happen like that? Like that wasn't supposed to happen like that. And Yeah, it's not like a quick kind of like 3 month turnaround as like, oh, I've learned all the lessons. And, sometimes you just like,
If
no,
only.
I really wish that that didn't happen.
Yeah, yes, yes. Yes, I don't know many people myself in my own personal experience and including myself that could honestly say everything, every single thing in my life that I've ever experienced was exactly what it should have been and it
Yeah,
wasn't a mistake.
exactly.
Like I don't
Yeah.
think you can think like that really.
Yeah, I agree because I don't. It's almost like that spiritual bypassing type thing is like, oh, everything's for a reason. Like, there's
Yeah.
kind of truth in it, but it's not so beautiful. It's
No,
not so optimistic
not.
as that.
Sometimes you're in the mud
Yeah. And
and you don't know how you got in there, and then you blame yourself. And
yeah. And there could have been another way. You would have still got the lesson. It just didn't need to be quite that painful.
yeah,
You didn't quite need to be that far down in the mud
yeah,
to experience that. So there's
yeah,
definitely some things that like I look
yeah,
back on and go, no, that was unnecessarily painful. It didn't need to be like that, you
yes,
know. But I
yeah,
but the fragmented part, it's funny, I've got the same visual of that. So you were saying like you visualize it as like fragmented parts that come together. That's interesting because I have the same visual, but also then like when a really big event happens and a very traumatic event, that's how I imagine it to then be refragmented. It's like that. It's like almost like all the little parts of us are at like a bowling lane and then the pins at the end. And a big traumatic event is the bowling ball and it just knocks them all down and scatters them again. And after a big traumatic event, you've got to work to bring them all back into the lane again. And so that's how I visualize that, or it's kind of how I try and explain it when sometimes you can feel quite whole and you're going along life just fine, and then something comes along and just boom, smashes all the pieces out again, and you have to start from scratch and bring them all back in and reintegrate everything into that same formation, a new formation, not quite how it was before, but
yeah. It's a really good explanation. It's a really good explanation, and um, I know there have been times in my life, and I have some clients who've had this also, where okay, that bowling ball's come along and scattered all these fragments of myself. And then more bowling balls keep coming.
oh, yes,
And I
yes,
can't get those pins to stand up. And
yes,
I'm wondering, I'm sitting in that, wondering when, what's happening? What have I done to deserve this? Really going down
yes,
with that. And, your health diminishes, your mental health diminishes, you've got no energy, maybe you lose your job as well, or maybe your finances have gone out the window, all aspect of one, this happens quite a lot, I think.
yeah,
It's what the proverbial dark night of the soul could be about, in terms of,
yeah, it
you
could
keep
be.
getting hit when you're down type of
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. And it is a really good way of explaining it, like you said, with the other bowling balls. And it could be with one theme, or it could be like your whole life things as you're saying. But like for grief, for example, like somebody dies or somebody leaves, and then this bowl gets you just kind of starting to put your pins back up and your pieces back together and your parts back together, and then another death comes along, and or it could be like a betrayal trauma, like a constant cycle of relationships where you know, the same patterns keep happening, rejection, abandonment, betrayal, and you're like, why does this happen again? And then, but yeah, like you say, it could be every area of life. One day it could be health, the next day your career. But that build up is more difficult to deal with, and that's when you get like the complex trauma because you've got to really work hard to retrieve some of the past pieces that are far flung whilst you've been so busy with the ones right in front of you, and it's a job to collect all of them together, but that's the work, I guess. That's the work that we do.
Yes, and to your point, there's time and place for that. So, like I'll have people come to me and they're in that place.
Mm.
And all we can do is look after our now.
Yes, Yes, that's
You
like the
know,
crisis moments, isn't it? It's
it's
just
like
happened.
there's
Yeah.
nothing, this isn't a big resolution time. This is just
No,
about how do I get from one moment to the next.
absolutely. Yes, that crisis,
That
whether
is really, really important
it is.
to
And
kind of,
yeah, yeah, to like not skip the steps and try and collect everything at once. It's like, yeah, just deal with the thing that's happening right now, whether you be in burnout, or a big grief thing's just happened, or a big relationship's just ended, or whatever. You've just lost your job. That's the thing. And yeah, it's these things take time. There's no quick fixes.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's what I mean by, we started the conversation off with kind of this overview, rear view mirror overview sort of thing of what it means to start to learn to not only be visible, but be seen by not only out there, but to ourselves,
Mm,
When you've been battered and bruised by life,
mm,
it's really hard not to blame yourself.
mm. Yes. Well, yeah, you either get the people that blame themselves or chronically blame others. You get the two types, and there's got to be a way of balancing that, It can't always be somebody else's fault, and it's not always your fault either. Like, we're complex beings as humans, and there's lots of dynamics at play with any life situation that involves another person. And so,
Yeah,
um, yeah, having the broader view, isn't it, of not just getting so stuck in the details of what happened, but having the broader view of patterns, themes, removing the emotional intensity from things. It's a whole process.
yes. This emotional intensity is an interesting one, isn't it? Because it really can be the difference between um, feeling resilient and not.
Mm,
When you're in constant emotional overwhelm, for whatever reason,
mm.
it really makes it difficult to be in your own company.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Such a suffering point.
Yes, yes.
And regardless of what's happening and how things might be need to be resolved, it's almost like unless you can help yourself to see some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, regardless of whether it's in the moment or not, is the one thing that helps us navigate
Mm.
our experience. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it does. And so I do feel for the people who haven't got that yet. That's that anchor point. And I know for both of us, like what we try and do with other people and the clients is to find that within ourselves. That's my whole focus. Make the anchor point yourself. And that can feel really scary if you've never had that and you've always put it onto other people or kind of subcontracted it out to other people. But finding the anchor point in yourself means that it doesn't matter what you go through in life. Everybody can leave, everybody, you could be by yourself, but to find that point within yourself of safety, of inner trust, of inner wisdom, um, is really life-changing when you've never had that before. But everybody has that. I just want to make that really clear to everybody. Like, if you sat there thinking, like, I don't have that, you do. You do. Everybody has it. That's
I
what.
can't, I can honestly say when I've reached this point with any client and reached this point with myself, there hasn't been somewhere in my life that I haven't been able to remember that there was
Mm,
that moment when I knew I was okay,
mm.
even if it was for a brief moment.
Yes, yes.
We want to anchor into that as this proverbial light at the end of the tunnel, for want of a better
Yeah.
phrase. But it's really about, right here, right now, I'm okay. Right here,
Yeah.
right now, in this very moment, as I'm sitting here talking to you,
Yeah.
wow, I'm okay. It's so interesting, isn't it? Because we're taken off into the story or the experience or the overwhelm or the I've got to fix everything.
Mm,
And if we can find just one moment and that moment goes to the next moment and then that next moment and then the next moment, and then all of a sudden everything comes back online and we can start to feel more about ourselves
mm. Yeah.
outside of the overwhelming story or overwhelming experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of touched on, the visibility and the invisibility and like how people do struggle to sit with themselves. And that's what it comes back to is like having the visibility within yourself, like seeing yourself, not always waiting for other people. It's lovely when other people can meet you in that space. The human connection is one of the most beautiful things. I'll always believe that. But it's also important to have that for yourself when there is nobody there in that moment and you can look within yourself and see yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a weird concept, I guess, but like,
Even if it's down to saying something like, I'm still here. How?
yeah,
How did I
yeah,
manage that? I'm
it's
still here. All of this stuff has been happening and I can still feel my legs.
yes, exactly.
I
It's like
can
an extra
still,
voice. Is that how
yeah.
you hear it or see it? It's a zoomed out voice of the bigger picture. So when I like if I'm in turmoil or everything's intense or something like that, like there's another voice and it's a little bit removed and it's like that's okay. It's like but it's still me. Like that's what I'm talking about. It's my voice, but it's like a bigger picture, a
Mm,
zoomed out like authority parental voice, but it's me, it's not my parents' voice, it's my own. That's how I kind of describe it.
mm.
I keep doing this with my hand because that's where it feels like it comes from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It comes
yeah.
from here, and it's like talking 2 minutes, like what you were saying. It's okay. You're still
Mm,
here. You can survive this. Like you can get through this. It's like
mm,
a lovely, comforting voice that's the
mm,
trust, that's the inner trust, that's the inner wisdom, that's the intuition. I don't know, all of them things together. The self, like the soul, like whatever you want to call it. It's that
mm,
voice. But some people lose that because of conditioning or trauma, and you lose access to it. And that's what the main thing I try and get people back into is to hear the voice. It's very subtle sometimes and it's very quiet, but everybody has it. It's impossible for it to go away permanently, and it's impossible for somebody to not have it.
yes, yes. And in the trials and tribulations of one's life, we can be very distracted from that
Oh,
essence.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of things distract us from ourselves because sometimes that is so uncomfortable to just sit there. So yeah. Oh,
Mm. And also, we
overworking,
don't get taught that that's important, do we?
No,
Like,
absolutely not.
nothing
No.
in our direct experience necessarily. Some people are lucky, maybe, but a
Yeah.
lot about the world is pulling us out all the time. And so,
Yes.
what's the messaging? The message is coming back into myself is what not acceptable, maybe not
Yeah.
productive. You're not going to get anything out of that, whatever the story might be.
Well, yeah, for me, it just simply didn't exist. I didn't know it was an option.
We are.
And maybe that's just my specific experience of how I was conditioned, but how I was conditioned was the authority lies within another person. The
Mm,
authority lies within a teacher, a parent, the government, the systems, the something. And like, who am I to have a voice within that? So that was my thing. So I didn't know it was anything else was possible. That was like a light switch moment where it's like, oh,
it,
actually, we've got this all wrong. So yeah, I definitely was not taught that you have this inner voice or that you
mm,
have your own inner authority
mm.
at all. Not at all. It just
So, how did you
didn't
learn
exist.
then that you did have it? How did you learn?
Um, I think it was just learning, back to one of our very first conversations about that intuition. So I'm talking like in my 30s before
Mm,
I kind of knew this. The intuition of like just know those knowings and then
Yeah.
them coming true and then building the intuition or the inner voice from there and understanding that wow and then researching it and then studying it and then living it and then having all these experiences on top of it. um yeah, what about you? How
I
did
think
you
for me,
learn?
it's been I've come across some people
Mm,
in life
mm,
who reminded me
mm,
of all the ways in which I had um, directed my own life. And it was quite profound when I pieced that together.
mm,
But all the way through, the whole time in my life when I was distracted with other things, underneath it all, something in me was guiding me
mm.
back on it. It was very quiet.
So you weren't aware of it at the time, but
Not
but
at all, because
it
conditioning, like you say.
yeah, yeah.
But when I look in
In the
hindsight,
hindsight, that's what I was
when
going
I
to say. Is
look
it when you look
back
back? Yeah,
and think, oh
yeah,
wow, you decided that, you did that. Then when that happened, you did that.
yes,
No one told you to do that. Oh, I must have worked that out myself. This kind of like
yes,
reminiscing about my journey to that point. And I
yeah.
had some particular people who pointed that out, I think.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's really useful.
I'd come across
Yeah,
people, not well, therapists sometimes, other people, friends,
yeah. Okay. Yeah,
because we are social creatures, aren't we? We kind of learn from each other somehow. We're different people we
yeah.
come across tend to reflect back to us aspects of ourselves. And I thinking about it, I think those reflections were helpful.
Mm, yeah. And for me, I think I got mine from books and research and study. Being my little
Yeah,
introverted autistic self, I think that's where mine
there
came
you
from. And then
go.
it was life experiences that I had the knowledge that then I was aware of, so I was looking for it. Because in hindsight, I can't see the times that I did something right. I can see why I did it wrong. I
Yeah.
can see why I didn't have a choice. It was automatic. I can see all the
Yeah.
times I did an automatic decision, an automatic choice. And so it's kind of like, yeah, I've gone back and gone, oh my goodness, like, why did I do that? That was so
Mm,
automatic, but I had no awareness. Like, I
mm,
completely forgive myself because I had no awareness of it. So
mm.
how would it have been possible to be any different? It
This
wouldn't
is a
have been.
very good point.
Yeah,
See that in that review,
yeah,
what did
the
you
life
do?
review. Yeah,
You actually went back to a point in your life going, I did the best I could do with the information I had at the time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
incredibly healing because I know with myself and when I work with clients on this, that when we go back to those parts of ourselves, those times in our past selves,
mm,
and go, hang on a minute, this was who I was, this is the information I had, this is what was, because we all have 2020 hindsight, right? We all
yeah.
we all can go,
Mhm.
oh yeah, well, I should have known that, blah 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 blah, I should have made that decision. But you're talking about that from the place where you are now,
Of course, and it's so
with all
different.
the extra
Yeah.
information. You even have the result of it to be able to work with, like,
Exactly.
and it's
And
just when you think about it, you think, hang on a minute, that logic is a bit flawed.
and it's kind of cool looking back, but it's kind of frustrating and there's kind of some grief with it because it's like, oh, if I'd only known that when I was younger, or if I'd only known that when I was in the midst of that terrible relationship that was really damaging, that had like if I'd only known that. Yeah, so I don't know. I've had to go through a lot of grief about that, of like what my life could have been like if I'd have known this at a younger age.
Mm,
But at the same time, I do feel like there's like a different kind of purpose for having to go through. Like, how would I have known how automatic that was? Like, I wouldn't have had that experience. I guess what I'm trying to say is like that experience of being so unaware and
mm,
so unawake to these things and living my life so automatically in the subconscious that runs all of the things. If I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't know the contrast of the two differences of what it feels like now. And actually, that's what helps me be a good therapist because otherwise I'd have a big ego and I'd be really kind of like, well, this is how you should do it because it's always been like, it's easy, but it's
It's
not easy.
easy. You just be perfect and it's
Yeah.
easy.
You just do it because you just do.
You just do it because
Yeah,
you know somehow, even though no one taught you, you know. You
exactly.
know?
So I'm actually grateful in that regard because I've walked the two pathways of like complete unawareness,
Yes. Yes,
complete and
likewise.
utter naivety,
Yeah.
unawareness in
Yes.
dynamics with other
And
people.
personal suffering,
Personal stuff like not knowing when someone's using you, not knowing when someone's lying to you, not knowing when somebody, yeah, like not knowing that I had a choice in like work things or like I had a choice over that or I could have said a certain thing or I could, yeah, it's really interesting. It
It
with
is
health things too,
really.
like not knowing that there's other pathways away from the mainstream. That was a thing as well. So yeah, yeah, I think I'm over the grief part now, and I'm just kind of grateful for the two experiences because they are in such polarity or in such contrast, and I guess that's what allows my brain to delve back into that person of who I was and who I am now in order to help other people walk the same pathway or do. That's why I'm so like I love doing like the whole identity, whole identity crisis and all the evolutions we have to go through when we're trying things on. Like I almost fully shaved my head at one time and had all these different things and was trying all these kind of different things and you have to go through the messy parts of identity questioning and testing and experimentation to come to the person who you truly are in the end.
Well, it really, like when you were just sharing that, then this kind of image of the questing self came
Mm.
to, there's so much mythology around the quest.
Oh, I love that.
I
Yes.
love that.
I love
And,
that.
there's so much story about obstacles and passing through tests and
Mm.
coming to the holy grail of whatever, and all of that. All of these beautiful mythical stories about life. We seem to, in our modern world particularly, we've sort of reduced everything down to this idea that we've got a list, we've got a tick box list, really.
Mm. Yeah.
Things we've got to get done. And it's a wonderful reminder to go, actually, where's the mystery?
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah. The mythology, the kind of archetypal stuff, because also, like you said, it's reduced down to like a box ticking, but it's also been reduced down to labels and pathology, like you are this, you are that. And in a detrimental way, like there's something wrong with you. But really, when you talk about the mythology and the questing and the hero's journey and the like all of the other things, that it's not wrong, is it, to learn and to experience things and to do things incorrectly? Like that's all part of it. It's not a brokenness, it's just learning. That's what we're here to do. I love putting like the mythological or archetypal spin on things because it removes the pathology. I don't like using labels. Sometimes they're useful and sometimes they're limiting. Sometimes people attach too much identity onto labels. But when you
Mm.
use the symbolic language and the beautiful, some people see it as we're in a simulation, like a digital computer game. And on the quest, you just meet other players, like other characters, and some of them come with you for a big, long kind of journey. And other ones just you get some kind of something from and then you're on your way. So we all visualize this in different ways, but I love putting the other language on it. I feel it's so much more optimistic and positive than the pathology of medicalization of like you've got BPD or bipolar or like ADHD or autism. I mean, I use that label, whatever, but it's more for other people than myself. Because I know that they'll know. Whereas if I say, oh, I like, deep interests in things and I can do this for 12 hours, then like people just think that's weird. So I kind of use the label for other people. I wouldn't use it myself.
Yeah. It's just the whole reframe of life is
Yeah.
what is it about?
Yeah,
Really. We're
exactly.
all learners. One thing about us as a human is that we know how to learn. We've been doing it since
Mm,
we were born. We've been
hmm
learning. So we know how to learn. We learn one way, we can learn another.
mm,
Um, and this whole idea that, people say, oh, destiny, fate, all these sorts of things. I tend to say, we're living in this chaotic environment.
mm,
We're interfacing with chaos constantly.
mm.
And our fear response is wanting us to contain this chaos, which is life. And uh, and then we're evaluating our ability to contain that chaos. And
Yes.
I think
Hmm.
it's just so fascinating when we can kind of step out of the cage of that and start to
Yes.
see our lives in
Yeah.
a mysterious way. Well, how was I navigating that part of the journey, and how do I navigate it now, and what have I learned from how I navigated it then, and
Mm,
what was my learning kind of matrix during those years that
mm.
caused me to experience those things and learn those things. It's this kind of, yeah, ever unfolding, that's the word I was after, ever unfolding journey. It's like you're walking along this pathway and things are popping up, and
Mm.
you're meeting people on the way, and you're
Yes.
walking through different terrain, and sometimes your feet are sore, and sometimes your back's bad because of what you're carrying on your back, and you want to put your backpack down. And it's this kind of experience, this ongoing experiencing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And yeah, it's back, it's almost like the back to the inner voice, isn't it? It's like it's removing yourself from the chaos, creating enough separation, like you said, stepping out of the cage of the chaos. Because when we're so distracted and conditioned and we're just running through the systems that we've been brought up in with no conscious awareness of anything other than that, we're
Mm.
stuck in the chaos. We can't see outside of it. It's like, the classic thing is like a fish can't see water like that. They're like, what's that? Because it surrounds them. So stepping out of the chaos, and I see that as the inner voice, like that broader picture, the zooming out, the voice that's here is almost like looking at me. Or if we're going to use the computer game analogy, it's like you're the person controlling it, but the character is in the chaos. But yeah, I love visualizing like that. Like that's really helped me in my life, I think, is to
Me
understand that there's a
too.
bigger game. Like there's a
Me
bigger,
too.
there's a bigger game, and really it's not so serious. Like
Well, yeah,
and
and
we have
because
options
the thing
and
about,
choice.
we're so identified by how we feel,
Mm,
and just full circle, is this visibility and being seen thing, that's got an aspect out into the world, but it's really about being visible and being seen by our own selves,
it
isn't it?
is, yeah, being seen in
Ultimately,
it is
you know,
really, yeah. It is. That's the biggest thing, I think. Yeah, like I say, it's lovely to be seen, to be deeply seen authentically by somebody else. But it's
well, it leads us to also see
but
ourselves.
but we cannot but yeah, seeing ourselves is the greater thing really, because we always have that. That's our greatest tool because we always have access to that. And that is our anchor, that's our decision-making portal. That's where everything should come through. And then that gives you the autonomy and the choice of how to interact
Autonomy. Took
with
the word
other
out of my
people.
mouth. The autonomy, because
Yeah.
we're being driven by that which we've been taught is the truth.
Yes. Yes.
Never fully feels right.
Mm. Yes, being driven externally by external things of what we've been told, the system, get a job, get married, da, da, da. Or the internal thing of actually, what do I want? What feels right instead of what I should do? What do I want to do? Because we always have more options and pathways than we think that we do, even if it feels pretty narrow and pretty stuck. I feel like there's always a creative way of uncovering another pathway.
yeah, it's that whole idea of, we can either be down in the town
Hmm.
or we can
Yeah.
be up on the mountain outside the
Yeah.
town, down at the
That
town.
that's so funny. That's how I imagine myself, not so much on a mountain, but on a big rock. I always imagine myself sitting on a big rock. I've got a nice view, but I can see all the other people. My dreams are often like that. I'm often looking at the crazy antics of these humans, and I'm just sat on like a platform or something going, Is this a joke?" Like, is this a joke? Am I the only person that can see this? And yeah, it's funny.
And that's one way. And also, you can be up on that hill looking down, going, oh, they look like they're having a good party down in this town square. I think I might
Yeah, go and
scoot
join
down
them.
there quickly, just
Yeah,
because if I'm
exactly.
down there, I don't necessarily see what's happening in the town hall, town square there. So I can
That's
see it
true.
up there and I'll go down and enjoy myself a little bit.
Exactly. Have the choice again, the choices and the autonomy is like it's your
Yeah,
life. If you want to go
exactly.
do that, go do that. If you want to go do that, do that. Do all of the things. Why not experience it all?
Oh wow. What a conversation we've had.
I
This is
know.
amazing. Like we started off with visibility and being seen and what that
Yeah.
means. And as usual, Jewel, we've traveled
Gone
together
off on many tangents and
and gone off on many tangents and shared really what our experience is,
Mm,
around that and the compassion aspect for ourselves and our experience.
yes, and all the mistakes we've made.
All the
Or not.
decisions that led us down different roadways,
True.
pathways, whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Very good.
All right. Lovely conversation. Thank you,
Yes,
Sarita.
likewise. See
See you
you
next
soon.
time. Bye.
Bye.